Be surprised by how much energy is stored in your hips, whether you've been sitting for a while or you live a pretty active lifestyle. So here's some moves that you could try. Starting off with a toe reach. You want to bend from your hips and not your backs, and then try to relax while your toes are flexed and your legs are straight. A somewhat simpler variation to that would be the single leg fold. Maintaining a bend in the one leg can make it easier to get more flexibility in the other leg, while also stretching the opposite leg's hip. Onto the wide leg forward bend. This will stretch your hips and your inner thighs. Again, don't bend at your back, bend at your hips. Try to maintain that toe flexion. You'll feel a whole different stretch. Next up, we're just going to call this one the butterfly. First, you want to start off by pushing your knees down, and you can just stay there until you build your way up to wanting to fall forward, again, bending at your hips. To really kick up that stretch, grab your ankles and align it on the inside of your knees, starting off by just pressing down on that knee. Your toes are flexed, and you're bending at your hips, making sure your knees are aligned with your heels, and making sure to breathe. Don't hold your breath. To deepen the stretch even further, grab one leg and put it over the other. Ideally, your knees align with each other, but that's not always possible. Just make sure you're feeling the hip stretch while keeping your sit bones on the ground. Your sits bones are basically your booty bones. You can walk your hands forward to feel an extended stretch. The pigeon is next. The best way to align yourself for this is getting to plank and aligning your knee to your thumb. Make sure that hip is on the ground. Try to maintain a straight leg at the back, but it's not always possible. Just try to center it and then rest at your level. To add in another stretch for your triceps, just bring your elbows up and try to bring your hands as close to your head as possible. A stretch for your hip flexor is trying to bring that heel close to your butt. And this is just a fancy way to do it by connecting your hands. Next, we're coming onto our toes and falling forward, again from our hips. You can grab your ankles or wherever feels comfortable, and you can even add a twist, grabbing the opposite ankle and looking up. To stretch the shoulders, you can interlace the hands and fall forward. You've probably done this move before, but to feel it deeper, focus on keeping your knees together while pushing your hips forward. For more stability, hold on to something and feel it the exact same. Next, we're going to go into a malasana squat, making sure those elbows are pushing out into the inward knee. Don't bend your back, and roll those shoulders back. You can advance to a straight leg forward fold or just start off with your knees slightly bent. Here's some variations to add some flexibility. Inhale, straightening your back. Exhale, releasing forward. Bending one knee and straightening the other. Rocking the body while holding the opposite elbows. Placing your palm underneath your foot, then basically sniffing your toes. Child's pose, both your knees together or spread apart, trying to keep that bum close to your heels. Now your butt completely off your heels and pushing your hips away from you to feel that stretch in your hip flexor. You can add a twist for a variation to feel a nice release in your back. Now we're going to sit our butt on the floor while letting our heels come to the side of our hips while slightly pushing forward. Feel this in your hip flexors and your knees. That's it for part 1. Stay tuned for part 2. Thank you guys.